This is a review of the lead sourcing partner agreement. Of course, please have a qualified legal representative review this agreement to satisfy any concerns you might have. But be advised in advance that any change we make to this agreement must be made for all partners, thus only a change of significance will be considered. If planning on joining this program, you should plan on this being the agreement that is used, without a change. We will not make changes that apply to one partner without making them applicable to all partners. The startup fee. There is a fee to participate in this program. It's $2,495. The fee is returned per the description in subsection 6.2, which we will cover in the compensation section. Section 2. Territory. There are no territorial protections. ScerIS may appoint any number of representatives to assist it in its lead generation activities and in any of its activities. The organizations of the prospects you target should be US-based. But, what US-based means is open to some interpretation. One example demonstrating some interpretation that is possible: customers with ScerIS systems in the US may have non-US employees accessing and using these systems. Section 3. Term. The term runs for 1 year and automatically renews for 1 year at a time, unless terminated as defined in Section 12. We will cover Section 12 when we get to it. Subsection 4.3. I'm sure this is clear, but to review this, ScerIS in its sole discretion is responsible for all pricing, and prices charged to customers may impact the basis on which partner compensation is determined. As an example of this, ScerIS may discount product prices in a transaction or may apply premiums to the amounts charged. The basis for payments to partners is the actual selling price of the product, not list price. A price change, from list price, may apply to any item sold. Subsection 4.4. ScerIS reserves the right to determine if the prospect or their employer represents a viable opportunity and may decline the opportunity at any time to take any additional step towards making the organization a customer. For example, we will not sell or try to help organizations known to be involved in nefarious activities. Subsection 4.7. ScerIS does not guarantee or make any assurances that leads provided by partners will become contracts. Subsections 4.11 and 4.12. It is expected that we will work together and in appropriate ways, comply with laws and conduct our businesses in support of one another. Subsection 5.1. Lead sourcing partners are prohibited from contacting ScerIS customers or any prospects or other business relationships of ScerIS that have been disclosed to the partner for the purpose of promoting or selling products that compete with those offered by ScerIS. There is no restriction on the partner to contact any of these parties for any other purpose. Subsection 5.4. Gratuities are prohibited with the exceptions noted for gifts that are usual and customary. Subsection 5.6. Any potential for a conflict of interest must be presented to ScerIS. Subsection 5.7. Partner may not benefit from a sale in which the partner has a conflict or is employed by the prospect, organization, or customer. Partner must provide evidence of permission to proceed with a transaction in which there may be a conflict and that permission may be validated by ScerIS before continuing. Violating any of the partner prohibitions could result in termination of this agreement for cause. Section 6. Compensation. Compensation is based on product invoices submitted to customers within 18 months of the initial contract, and calculations for payment are made when payment is received from the customer. The schedule shown presents the percentages of the net amount billed for each of the items listed that is paid to the partner following receipt of good funds from the customer. Note that the percentage that is applied to government entities and government contractors is 1/5 of the amount shown in the table. Therefore, as one example, 25% for ScerIS software, when working with a government entity or contractor, is 5%. Subsection 6.1.1. Product invoices exclude deposit invoices. When the product is invoiced, if there was a deposit, it is reflected on the invoice as a reduction of the amount owed by the customer. As an example, if there was a 20% deposit on a $10,000 ScerIS software license, that means that ScerIS would have invoiced for $2,000 as a deposit. When the software is installed and there is an invoice for the software, the amount invoiced is $10,000 less the deposit of $2,000, or a net of $8,000. When computing the partner's portion of this invoice, the deposit amount is added back to the net amount paid, therefore the $2,000 is added to the $8,000, which equals $10,000, and it's this $10,000 on which we make the revenue sharing calculation and pay the partner. Subsection 6.1.2 refers to the override you receive on the direct revenue sharing fees paid to any partners you recruited into the program. The sponsoring partner receives 20% of the total amount paid for direct revenue sharing to all the lead sourcing partners they recruited. Subsection 6.1.3 refers to the override you receive on the direct revenue sharing fees paid to any subpartner. A subpartner was sponsored by someone you sponsored into the lead sourcing program. This is 10% of the total amount paid for direct revenue sharing to all the subpartners. Subsection 6.2 refers to how we refund the startup fee. As you receive a direct revenue sharing payments, we match 50% of that amount until your startup fee is fully reimbursed. Subsection 6.3 refers to recruiting new partners, if you choose to do so. If you do, then we take 80% of the startup fee paid by that partner you recruit and account for it as an amount to be paid to you. The way in which you get this paid is that we provide a 100% match against the direct revenue sharing payments to the partners you've recruited up to the amount that has been accounted for from the startup fees paid by partners you've recruited. To get this payment, you must have partners you've sponsored that are producing prospects that turn into customers for ScerIS. Just as a sidebar, this is designed this way so that this program can't be just a recruiting program. There must be the sale of products to customers, not just startup fees paid by partners, to make this a valid program. Subsection 6.5. Payments to partners are made directly to partner accounts, which must be with a U.S. bank. If you are a partner from outside the USA, you will need a US-based bank account. Subsection 6.6. ScerIS may allow for multiple registrations of a prospect, and if so, ScerIS will determine how direct revenue sharing dollars will be split between the partners. This is highly unlikely because a partner that is first to introduce a prospect is who we will most likely be working with. It's more likely in the event that a partner has been unsuccessful at arranging the introductory meeting after some extended period. Section 7 is about account registrations. Unless there is a reason for early termination of the registration, a prospect registration will stand for 6 months from the date the meeting is booked, not the date of the meeting, but the date the meeting was set up. Subsection 7.4. It is the partner's responsibility to ensure that the prospect will be attending the meeting because late cancellations and no-shows may impact partners' compensation. Just so that it's understood why we decrement partner earnings, this is because sales resources at ScerIS that could have been doing other work have been committed to a sales time slot and not available for other activities. Just to be clear, and you can call us out on this later, if you are a producing partner, earning on average at least $5,000 per month, we will waive this chargeback against your compensation. Subsection 9. Nature of our relationship. We are entities that are independent of one another. Neither of us has the power or authority to bind the other into any transaction. You are not under any obligation to meet certain quotas or do the things identified in subsection 9.5. And you are responsible for all expenses associated with your involvement with ScerIS. Section 10 Indemnification. We have mutual indemnifications here. We hold each other harmless for claims rising from our individual activities. I can't imagine what may come from your lead sourcing activities that might lead to a claim. Make sure you comply with CAN-SPAM and other federal and state laws. Also, don't get involved in any financial transactions involving prospects, businesses at which relatives work at, etc. However, in terms of ScerIS's involvement in transactions, we have a lot of risk and you will want to be indemnified from our activities.